Hello and welcome to another edition of Stockwatch. So as we start the trading week, we've seen that ExxonMobil and Chevron have really slashed their spending plans for the remainder of Q4 and going into 2021 due to the fact of the ambush of the coronavirus over the energy sector and other sectors in general in the market as well. So Exxon has slashed its spending plans, postponed its earnings for its growth target as well, and will write off up to $20 billion of assets as it closes out 2020. So the biggest US oil producer by volume said it would spend 16 to 19 billion dollars next year, and that is revised downwards from 20 to 25 billion annually until 2025. So very big moves to try and cut the expenditure. So these latest cuts follow a harsh move in the last 6 months from the oil industry in general, in particular Exxon, a company that has past embodied American power. Once the most valuable company in the world, actually, it's now worth just the same as local rivals Chevron in the markets. That's quite a fall from grace from Exxon from the status that it has had in the last few years. The company is also in the process of cutting 14,000 global jobs, or 15% of its workforce, as part of its effort to reduce operating costs and protect its dividend. So it's looking ahead for the long term in the next decade to try and see if it can sustain these pandemic woes and if it can get back on its feet in no time. We've seen in November, however, the influx of bulls in the market going into the energy sector in general. ExxonMobil rose by 17%, which is a huge gain, but obviously not as big as Chevron's, which achieved a 25% advance. So the big energy story in November wasn't really about oil itself. It was just about the expectation that the world will advance from the coronavirus pandemic with upbeat trials like I spoke about in other Stockwatch videos from Pfizer, from Moderna, AstraZeneca and other companies as well. Johnson & Johnson are looking to get into the vaccination market as well. So this is very important for these companies as well as a bit of a glimmer of hope and, you know, a bit of sun past the rainbow, let's say. So we'll see how that goes in the next few months at least. So with this being said, it's looking like Chevron is now notably in a more stronger financial position than ExxonMobil. So it'll be interesting to see in the next few months if we can see a new power in this range. So let's take a look at ExxonMobil first today. So as I said earlier, the November streak has really propelled prices back to trying to trade in a bit of a bullish market. So from the 9th of November, we see this big jump from when the pandemic antidotes were first announced and the hope was announced that it would get back on its feet, and then we've seen quite a big surge on the upside, but now we're seeing a few prices starting to wane. I'm checking the momentum indicator at the moment. We're seeing a nice consolidation on momentum. However, prices are still very choppy, so I'm waiting for a nice divergence to come into the market to really cement the prices either on the upside or the downside. On the long term, I'll be looking to see if prices are going to start reaching recent peaks that we've seen before we've had a bit of a downturn. We've seen recently that it's almost had a bit of a double top here. So I'll be looking basically in the next few trading sessions to see if we can reach this top here at just under $42 and then go above 42, and that would probably give room for the push up to $46. However, there is a little bit of a false hope at the moment that oil prices will keep pushing upwards, and also that these energy stocks will keep catapulting higher due to the fact that the budget cuts and the workforce cuts as well will come into play in 2021. So it's something to look out for as we close the year out in the next few weeks, if there will be quite a big sell-off, because just touching upon the pandemic trials that have been completed, the UK are the first company to have it fully licensed and certified to give to the public, but they've only got 16 million doses, and 16 million isn't really a lot to go around the whole of the UK. And as other companies prepare to accept their own vaccinations, how many of these vaccinations will be needed for the well to get back to normal. So as you can see, prices are trading quite far away from the Ichimoku cloud. I'll just be looking at the next few trading sessions if we can hit this recent peak, or if we see a bit more of a divergence on momentum or the RSI, and then that will bring prices probably back down to where the gaps will have been covered here. So my first target will be just under the $40, and then we'll be seeing if it's going to start sliding back down again. So this will be a good sell point for me that I'll be looking at in the next few trading sessions. A quick look on Chevron as well. So the last time I looked at it a couple of weeks ago, I was noting the recent peak before the downside move a few months ago, and now obviously we've seen this bullish ascendancy because of the headlines in the pandemic. So what I'll be looking at to see if it can keep pushing above this recent peak, and then we can start realistically looking at this next target as well. With that being said, when the market does open, if we can maintain this price here, then I'll be looking to open a buy up until here to put in a nice take profit as well, up to that area above $95, $96. So this is what I'll be looking at for Chevron. Again, there was always a downside bias, so we'll be looking just to see if it's going to cover some gaps. There's some support levels here as well. So if we don't actually penetrate this last peak any further, then I'll be looking to see if it's going to keep progressing. If not, then there'll be a nice sell stop as well that I'll be putting in just to see what's going to happen in the next few trading sessions ahead. So that's all from the Stock Watch today. Keep an eye on the energy sector and companies like Chevron and ExxonMobil that are really being heavily downgraded by the pandemic, and we'll see what happens in the next few trading sessions. So have a great trading day ahead. If you have any comments, please feel free to share them, and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. Have a great trading day ahead, and bye for now.